Hi. Um, I am going to be doing a series on My Bible Grew Legs. This is the first of 3 introductory talks to help you see things from my viewpoint as I go into the first 5 books of what Christianity calls the Bible and show how relevant it is to me today. And so the 3 introductory talks. This first one is going to be about Aramaic, Hebraic word meanings and how relevant it is to actually understand the original word meaning. So I suppose the first thing I should tell you is that I'll be sharing experiential knowledge, not not intellectual knowledge. And don't mind me, I'm in the car because my wife's asleep and don't want to wake her up. So on this channel, I'm going to be talking about experiential knowledge, not intellectual. So who am I? Well, my name is Dale Randall, and I am 69 years old. My mother's name was Will, and if you go to the Museum of Names, that is or was between Haifa and Tel Aviv on the coastal highway, you'll discover that the tribe of Levi, to escape persecution in Europe, reversed the way they spelled it. Levi became Evil, or will, or wills with an S, or Wiley, or wilder, etc. You get the picture. Further research informed me that if I had lived in Europe during Hitler's time in power, he would have provided me with a trip to Bergen-Belsen or another similar establishment. The Orthodox Jewry, though, say I'm not a Jew. And like I've spent 3.5 years in Israel, and finally, the Christians in Israel told me to get out of there. Only the non-observant Jews I met actually accepted me. Rejection for what I've learned on my own is something I know very well. This series of posts are going to be about how I understand the relevance of the 613 instructions found in Torah to a person, me, living outside Israel today. If anything I say resonates with you, I'll be blessed, and I bless you. What we will be talking about is only a very brief sketch. It's not in depth. And it will probably take 50 or more sessions of 15 to 20 minutes each to actually communicate this very brief sketch. And so for this introduction, we're going to talk about the very first word found in the first book of the library that Christianity calls the Bible, and Jewry, the Jewish people, call Torah. The first word is Bereshit. It is spelled Bet Resh Shin, Bet Resh Aleph Shin Yud Tet. I have come to understand that the Greek mindset is analytical, while the Jewish mindset is experiential. And so when Christianity chose to believe Yahweh replaced the Jewish way of doing things with the Christian way, they in essence changed the way a person is to understand the library called the Bible. And in doing so, they argue about doctrinal differences that, from a Jewish perspective, do not even exist. And by looking closely at this first word from the Jewish perspective, I'll try to illustrate what I mean. It is no coincidence that this first word how do I put it? The word Bereshit contains a hidden messianic prophecy. And it teaches us that the Son will be the head of all things. The Aramaic word for son is bar or bet resh. Okay? And the word resh means head, chief, as well as starting point. So I need to tell you that there's also something called a direct object pointer. And in English, the first three sentences, the direct object pointer points out which part of the sentence actually receives the action. And it is pointing out that the Son is the first and the last, the beginning and the completion. You see that in the Hebraic, not the Greek or the English that comes out of the Greek. But anyway, this is why Yeshua, or in English he's called Jesus. This is why in his oral commentary, by the way, is Matthew chapter 5, 6, and 7. His oral commentary on how to interpret Torah says, "Do not think that I have come to loosen Torah or the prophets. I have not come to loosen, but to fulfill. For truly I say to you that until heaven and earth pass away, not one yud or one stroke will pass from Torah until everything happens." That is in the library called the Bible. We're talking about the book of Matthew, chapter 5, and it's the sentence numbers 17 and 18, or verses 17 and 18 that I just read. And Christianity tells us that the word fulfill means to get rid of. But if you actually check out the meaning of the word fulfill, I have come to the understanding that it may also mean correct your understanding. So, let's reread that first part of it again. Do not think that I have come to loosen Torah or the prophets. I have not come to loosen, but to correct your understanding. And if you read the rest of Matthew 5, 6, and 7, chapters 5, 6, and 7 in the book of Matthew, that is a much more accurate understanding of how that word fulfill is to be understood. And by the way, this may also be why Yochanan, John, in English, in the first sentence of his book called John, begins by saying, Bereshit Aitohi Hava Miltha. This phrase is commonly translated, in the beginning was the Word. But the reality is it means much more. The word miltha has no direct English equivalent. Yes, it can mean word, but it also can mean manifestation, instance, and or substance, among other things. But those are the most common. So as I understand it, an amplified way to read John 1:1 would go something like this. The Son, which is the head, is the word, manifestation, instance, and or substance that was from the beginning. So first of all, it's talking about the only begotten Son. It's talking about him being God, him being with God, etc. And in John, in the next couple of sentences, totally clarifies that. You see, when one loses this Jewish cultural understanding of the first word in the library called the Bible, it may inhibit the reader of what Christianity calls the New Testament from understanding what is actually being communicated, thereby introducing error and or strife and arguing, which leads to pride and division. Well, as I began to understand my cultural heritage, this library called the Bible, which used to be like a charcoal sketch, a line drawing maybe, of something historic, it actually became a 3D color picture, which stayed the same while it constantly changed. And depending on how I looked at it. It was amazing. And so, as I share with you my understanding of the outline of the 613 instructions that are to be obeyed through faith in Yahweh, I will be looking at about 36 different groupings, okay, of these 613 instructions. I'll be viewing the groupings through Yeshua's commentary, Jesus's commentary, found in Matthew chapters 5, 6, and 7, and then looking at one or two interpretations found in the writings that make up the rest of what is called the New Testament. I then may be pointing out one or two applications that may be relevant to myself, so as to bring it to a more current way to see what is being said. And then I may actually be giving you an opportunity to make an application yourself. The next one I'll be doing is faith. The next introduction that I'll be doing is faith, because we'll find out that because they did not have faith while they were obeying, the Jewish religious people were rejected, were cut off, and the non-Jewish people who had faith were grafted in. Okay, so we're going to be looking at what is faith. as the next of the three opening explanatory videos. And by the way, I haven't yet figured out how to do it, but I'm going to be putting a subscribe button. And if you want to hear more and help me, which is a win-win situation, you can hit the like and subscribe button, and I guarantee you it will not cost you anything. Have a great evening, and be blessed. Okay, there is, as I reviewed the talk, there is one point that's very important to make that I did not make. And so this is a little add-on, and that is in the library called the Bible, the book of John. We talked about the very beginning of the book, Bereshit, okay? But the author, John, gives us a reason why he wrote the book. So I'm going to read it to you, okay? And now I'm reading out of the Aramaic English New Testament, and because it has a different emphasis, and it makes a point. And so in the book of John, chapter 20, the last two sentences, or the last two verses, it says this: "Now Yeshua did many other miracles before his disciples that are not written in this book. Indeed, these things are but written that you might believe that Yeshua is the Mashiach, the Son of Elohim, and when you believe, you might have in his name life that is eternal." So even right at the beginning, when he's talking about Bereshit, when he's talking about Genesis, the very first sentence in Torah, the very first word in Torah, then he makes reference to the first chapter in the first book of Torah, with him talking about light and life and creating. Yochanan, or John, is making the point that if you want to know Yeshua, if you want to know this individual that Christianity calls Jesus, so that you can believe that he is the Messiah for the whole world, and he is the only begotten Son of Elohim, you need to begin at Genesis 1:1. You need to understand, at least in broad strokes, Torah and how it applies to your life. Yeah, I just wanted to add that. So, if you like what you heard, like I said before, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, won't cost you anything. And when I figure out how to get her done, I will also have a notification button put in there for you. Okay? Yeah, have a great day. As you can see, I'm in my work vehicle. Okay, take care. Bye.